Hey, welcome back to the Live with Audacity podcast. You're listening to episode 22. Have I got a surprise for you? I'm so excited about this. I am putting together a super cool, super fun 30-day Live with Audacity challenge. So during my recent launch of the Live with Audacity course, I was hit with the fact that most people have no idea how to live with Audacity. If they've never really been very bold or they're people pleasers by nature, most people don't really know what Live with Audacity means or how to do that. So I have put together this super fun challenge so that together we can all start to enjoy having fun and start taking steps to live our most authentic lives. The best thing ever about this challenge is that it's easy. It's 30 days of dipping your toe into living with Audacity and really starting to embrace who you truly are. I am so excited about this. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so much fun. So, the fun starts next Monday, February 3rd. It's all free, and I'm going to send out a 30-day challenge calendar. Each day is going to have a very simple, fun task to get you to have some fun in your life. So please join me. It is truly going to be the best month of your whole life. We will all share together our experiences, what was freeing, what was easy breezy, what was a little out of your comfort zone, and all the things. I promise you're going to have so much fun interacting with everyone and sharing in the silliness. So to join the fun, go to livewithaudacity.co. That's livewithaudacity.co. Now, let's move on to today's episode. Let's get down to business, party people. Today, I have a super cool lady on, Jillian Duncan of Clarity Junction. Jillian is a positive life and well-being coach and also author of Sleep, Cure Your Insomnia, Improve Your Health, and Feel Better Now. Today, we're talking all about sleep, and Jillian gives us a boatload of tips and tricks to help us figure out this whole sleep thing and why it's so important to every part of our lives. This is really good stuff. Keep your ears peeled for that one special fruit that can help you in your quest for sleep. You're listening to the Live with Audacity podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Stewart. Audacity is defined by Merriam-Webster as intrepid boldness or disregard for normal constraints. And that's exactly what we have here. The Live with Audacity podcast is aimed at giving you the courage to explore your someday dreams, do things your way, and start making things happen in your life right now. I'm a mama to 4 kiddos ranging from college student to kindergartner, wife to a high school football and track coach, and a multi-passionate entrepreneur. Together with my guests, we're going to teach you how to live with audacity and intentionality, discover and utilize your unique skills and talents, and step into who you are meant to be in order to make your someday dreams a reality. Are you ready? Here we go. Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning back into the Live with Audacity podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Stewart, and today I'm so excited to have a fellow Scot, Jillian Duncan, on today. She is the author of Sleep, Cure Your Insomnia, and also the mind behind Clarity Junction. Jillian, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Melissa. Thanks so much for inviting me onto the podcast. I am so excited to chat with you. I'm so delighted to be here.
Thank you. I am so excited to talk to you. And actually, we just spent like the last 20 plus minutes hanging out and chatting all about Scotland and kids and all that stuff. So I'm so excited to have you here. Tell us a little bit about your Clarity Junction website and the blog and the podcast.
Sure thing. So Clarity Junction is sort of a thing I came up with when I was feeling that I was chatting to a lot of women through my coaching and finding that they were letting certain barriers stop them from achieving what they really wanted in life. The more I spoke to these women, the more I realized that they were living a life that they had been told to live by perhaps, parents or sort of lifestyle choices, or partners, or media and in as a whole, and they weren't truly going for their own dreams in life. They weren't truly going for what they felt that they wanted to do as a person. They were hiding behind other people's thoughts and other people's suggestions of what they should be doing.
And
And
expectations.
and expectations, exactly. So, the more I spoke to these people, the more I realized that they were making excuses for not actually going for their dreams, and they were really building those excuses up. They were causing them to be huge barriers and really just stopping them from going forwards in life. And it was trying to break those barriers down and trying to make them say that actually you can do what you want to do. If you want to become an artist, you can become an artist. You can pick up those brushes again, you can pick up those pens again, and you can be creative and do this. You don't have to have these doubts in your head by saying, oh, maybe people won't like my artwork, or maybe I shouldn't be doing it because I should be spending that time doing some housework, or I must get a traditional 9 to 5. All those sort of thoughts that go through their heads. And then you've got these other issues of health. And, I, for one, have faced an awful lot of health barriers in my life. I suffer from chronic illness on a daily basis. I have had horrible injuries, which have left me, dealing with chronic pain. And, that affects my life. I've never let it get in the way of moving forwards. And when I have spoken to other people who have, faced ill health and, real traumas in their life, I feel that they are so quick to go, oh, well, my dreams are out the window. I can't do this anymore because, I've got this, I've got that. It's just not on the cards for me anymore. And
Mhm.
I feel really, well, sorry. I feel very sad that they think like that. But I also feel that whole question of why not? You might not be able to do what you want to do in the way you want to do it, but there's always a path around the situation. And so that's really my message with Clarity Junction, is that really, if there's something that you want to do in life, if you want to have a better life, if you want to do this something for yourself rather than for other people, and stop living up to the expectations of other people, then you get in there, you learn more, you find out more about yourself, you set your goals, you have some really great plans laid out, and you work through any issues, any challenges, and any hurdles that might come your way.
I love that so much, and it's so interesting that we're talking about this today because that's exactly what my message is as well. It's
Yeah,
like you got to get out of your own way and stop
sure.
letting other people get in your way too, because i- the expectations, a lot of it is from society, but then at the end of the day, most of it is expectations that we put on ourselves
Yeah,
because of what we think other people are going to think about us. And it's so frustrating. I always just want to shake women and or
yeah,
anyone really and just be like, "Ah, get out of your own head. You can do
yeah.
this. It's okay."
Yeah, I get
So
a lot of comments through the fact that I have faced a lot of ill health, and you know, all my life I've had one hurdle after another to get over. And people will say to me, "Oh, do you know, Gillian, you are, you know, you're coping with this chronic illness, you're coping with this injury, you're coping with the fact that you've got 2 kids to look after. We were just discussing the fact that I had my 2 babies back to back. There were like 18 months between them.
crazy.
But yeah, yeah, just it was one of those things. worked out well in the long run, though, I must say, because now they're really good friends. So absolutely crazy at the beginning, but now it's worked out so well. But I did that, and I also built a retail business when my second child was born. So I would get up in the middle of the night and I would organize this and I would plan this and create it. And I had an online website, and I also had a physical retail store. I've done so many things in life, and people say to me, Gillian, how do you manage to do this? And I will say, well, because I wanted to. I
Yeah.
decided that this is what I wanted to do. And if I had a hurdle or something else happened, like another illness or whatever, or I was in a lot of pain, then do you know something? I made that work for me. I went round the long way, but I still managed to do it.
I love that so much. Um, so I feel like a lot of people, when they come to us with these questions like, how do you do this? How do you just keep moving forward? And I always just want to ask them, okay, well, if you don't wake up with hope for a better future and you don't have a plan to get there, what is the point of your life? What are you
Yeah.
like? What are you doing? Why do you keep waking up every day? So, what do you think the biggest fears are of people and why they can't seem to just get it together and go and do what they really want to do?
I think one of the biggest fears of most people is the thought of what other people think of them. I really think that people take that opinion far too deeply. I think they internalize this whole thought that people are going to look down on them, people aren't going to love them, they aren't going to be appreciated, they're going to think that they're silly, they're going to feel humiliated, they're frightened to be themselves. And with that, they tell themselves all those little negative thoughts in their head that that's exactly what they are. They're silly, they're daft for thinking that they can do whatever they want, that they're not meant to be doing anything other than they are doing. And that little voice constantly talks to them, and it constantly puts them off from expanding out in life and challenging that fact, and that little self-doubt, that's always in their head. They are just put off from facing that. So I think that's the sort of first major fear that people have, and the biggest one.
Yes, I would totally agree with that. Tell me a little bit about how our sleep can affect things like we're talking about right now, like
Yeah, sure.
the fears and how they play into each other.
Oh, absolutely. So sleep is massive, massive influence on everything that we do in our lives. And, I mentioned in my book that sleep had such, or the lack of sleep had such a profound effect on everything in my life, from my health, from my weight, from my, um, my, things like my immune system, to things like affecting my decisions on a daily basis. And that I couldn't, really function clearly, or as clear as I should have been functioning. And that led to me perhaps being not open as much as I would be to other people. And of course, that leads to misunderstandings, that leads to arguments, it leads to bad decision making. Because if you are not getting enough sleep, you are walking about like a zombie, and everybody, I'm sure, can appreciate what that is like. So, you wake up, you think that, yeah, sure, I've got a day ahead, but you're so tired that you really just want to crawl back under the covers and go back to sleep, but you can't. And so it affects the whole day. So everything that you do in that day is just going to be, well, it's almost like a sort of Friday the 13th. Everything you touch is going to go wrong. You're going to, make everybody as cross and as moody as you are. So definitely sleep is sort of a precursor for that. You need to think about improving sleep. And as I say, sleep affects absolutely everything in your life. People don't realize how important sleep is to your body and to your mental well-being. They tend to grow up with their parents telling them, you've got to go to bed, you need to get so much sleep. And parents want their kids to go to bed because they know that they're going to wake up grumpy if they don't get a good night's sleep. And then, as a parent, it's really hard to control a child who is, taking, those sort of mad fits and, all those sort of temper
Yes.
tantrums
Also,
that
we
during the
just
day.
want you to go to bed. We
We
just
just need
want
you to go to
you.
bed. But the thing is what happens is, and you'll be able to relate to this because I know that you have older children as well. So as the kids get older, that message seems to get diluted. So, for example, I've got a 15-year-old, and my 15-year-old is more of a night person, and he will be doing homework up till 10 o'clock at night. Now, even though I'll
Mhm.
be saying to him, look, it's time to turn that light out. You're tired. You need to rest and you need to restore, all your energy for the next day. It's good for your body to do. But he'll still stay up. But 10 o'clock is
Of
my limit. The
course.
light has to go up.
I
So
love that you put a limit on it and you really stick to it,
yeah,
because I feel like even us as parents, if we catch something cool on Netflix or Hulu or whatever, that we
absolutely.
can stay up and stay up. And to be honest with you, this week, for some crazy reason, I am more tired than I've been in a really long time, and I have no clue what's going on. So
Mhm.
maybe you can help me figure that out.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is the thing. When we get older, what I was saying, like when we get older, so like we go into the teens, we start to expand that time out of our day. We start to lengthen our day, and all of a sudden, sleep doesn't seem important. It doesn't seem that something that we should really be taking seriously. And then, when we get into the late teens, into our 20s, we go out partying, the nights seem to get, filled with more social events. We sit up and watch television, we watch films. And then when, we're dozing off, or we're like, oh my goodness, I've just chain watched a whole load of like documentaries or soaps or whatever like that you're watching. I'm going to turn that off and go to bed. It's not until that point that you think, actually I should go to sleep. And then next morning you're tired and you believe that you can just catch up and sleep at the weekend or another night. And this whole dilution and this whole thought process is the same as everybody. Everybody believes this, that sleep isn't that important. But sleep is really important because when you don't get enough sleep, so if you don't get your 7 to 8 hours sleep a night, your body, it releases a biological response. And that response is a stress response. So we are kicking off some really horrible hormones there in your body. And those horrible hormones, like your cortisol, that is, signaling to your body that you're in danger. You're going to have to, go into this fight or flight. You might not feel stressed, but, your mood is one thing that will tell you that you're stressed. Your eating patterns, you might not notice it, but your eating patterns change. So, there's amazing hormones in our body which tell us when we are like full and when we are like needing to eat. Now these hormones get all messed up, and when these hormones get all messed up, what we end up doing is eating more, and we don't have the signal in our body to say, you've had enough to eat. And then of course it triggers something else off in our brain that makes us have really bad food choices as well. So we will eat
Yes.
really high fat foods, or foods that are really not good for us. And then before we know it, we've put weight on, you know? And then
And
of
then you're
course
like,
that,
where did this come from?
where did that come from? Exactly, exactly. And then that then can trigger off other things. It can trigger off things like diabetes. It can trigger off things like problems with your heart. Now, if you're not getting enough sleep every night, your heart is getting stressed. Because you think about it, your heart is working constantly all day without a thought. Yeah. It just works for you and you take it for granted. It works all
Amen.
night, it works all day, it does not stop. Beat, beat, beat. Yeah. If you don't rest, your body cannot reduce your blood pressure. It can't reduce your heart rate. It just doesn't give your heart that rest that it needs. And with that constant stress, and along with all these other problems, these other hormone imbalances that are going on, you're actually putting your heart into that position where, it'll get diseased, and, you're at risk there of, as I say, heart disease or stroke. It's really, really, intense what a lack of sleep can do for you. And as I say, we're not talking about, just, sort of missing a night of sleep one night, or, getting less sleep one night and then catching up
Mm-hmm.
another night. By the time you have triggered that stress response just by missing out an hour or two one night in the week, that response is going on, and there's nothing you can do about it. And the only thing you can do is to make sure that you keep up a good pattern of sleep. So yeah, so that's like one huge message that I'm getting out to people, because
Yeah,
they just don't realize that this is happening to them.
totally. And so while you were talking, and I'm so glad that you brought up the diet thing too, because
Yeah.
I have experienced that where it's like you get up in the morning and you're like, oh my gosh, you have to peel yourself out of bed. You don't feel rested. So then throughout the day, you're kind of down and your energy is down. So you're like, I just want to feel good or happy. So you're like, I'm going to get some comfort food, which typically is high in fat and
Yeah.
cholesterol and grease and all
Chocolate.
those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, chocolate. Yeah, girl, chocolate chip cookies are my
Oh,
nemesis.
oh, me too. I can't have them in the house.
I love
They
that you said
honestly,
that.
yeah, I can't buy them. It's no, for years and years I've not been able to buy chocolate chip cookies. And if
Oh
I
my
buy them for
god.
my son, I have to lock them away. I can't have them.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny because I catch myself from time to time um running through Chick-fil-A to get one of their chocolate chip cookies, and I'm just like it's just like a hug and I just love it
Yeah,
so much.
yeah, and a packet of chocolate chip cookies, once it's opened, no, it's gone.
Ugh.
It's gone.
It's gone, it's gone.
It's gone.
I know, it's so funny. But yeah, so when we get to that point, we just, want a hug
Yeah,
from food, and so we eat terribly, which then it makes us more tired, which, makes it perpetuates the problem. So give us some
absolutely.
tips of how we can get better sleep because this is so important. And I think, if we got more sleep, that we would just be better humans overall and be better able to interact with people with love. So help us
Yeah,
out. What can
sure.
we do?
Well, basically, I mean, honestly, a lot of this, for the most of us, is very simple. Now, I'm not talking about people who, you know, are young, mums of young kids, right? Because
Of
I know
course.
that you have to get up every couple of hours, or, your sleep gets disturbed because, they get up, maybe poorly, you need to attend to them. So, this is, um, it's hard. It's a hard period, and it's one of those periods that you have to get through. And I'm not talking about people who have got other conditions that affect their sleep. I'm just sort of talking about the everyday folk that there's no other reason for their sleep to be affected. Okay, and it's been disturbed, and they're now finding it difficult to grab sleep. So my first piece of advice, okay, is one that people don't like to hear, but it's to turn off mobile phones, televisions, laptops, ebooks, and any sort of device an hour before going to bed. Anything that's got a light on it. So anything that's shining in your face. And the reason for that is that your body or your brain can't distinguish between the real daylight and the fake daylight. So in a greater sense. So if you are shining a light into your face, and then you just switch off, put your head down and expect to go to sleep, you are not giving your body that signal that it's now nighttime. Your body needs that time to generate the hormones required, to basically tell the rest of the body it's time to wind down and it's time to go to sleep. So that's number one. And people hate me for it because I know so many people go to bed and sometimes they'll be watching the television. and they'll just turn the TV off and go straight to bed. So that
Yep.
is a biggie. So yeah, no devices for an hour before going to bed. So it's hard to stick by, but do try.
So
Um,
hard.
yeah, it's horrible. So another one is to make sure that you watch your sugar and your caffeine levels during the day. So again, it's another simple one that you can sort of check what you're doing. So we shouldn't be having a lot of sugar, and we shouldn't be consuming a lot of caffeine either during the day, because we all know that that's not great for us. We all know that it
Hmm.
increases our heart rate, and there's a whole lot of negative stuff with sugar and caffeine. But one of the things it does do is that it provides that excess energy and stimulation that we really don't need before our bed. So I always say, look, if you're going to have caffeine and you're going to have your sugar, have it early in the morning.
Hmm.
And then after lunchtime, anything after lunch, make sure it's caffeine free, and keep that sugar down to a minimum, which is really hard because I know so many people suffer in, sort of mid afternoons, and they suffer from energy drops. So it's just being mindful of what you are eating at that point. So try and substitute those chocolate bars with, something that's more, that has more natural energy sugars, rather than those refined sugars. So we're talking about substituting it with fruits, or we're substituting it with sort of carbohydrates, because that's a really good one to keep our energies up. So really, really think about what we're consuming during the day, and also keep our fluids up. Our whole body needs water. Our whole body is, a big source of water. And,
Yes.
by the time you have a dry mouth, your body is already dehydrated. So keep those fluids up. And again, that will help you to sleep through, because it's really good for your heart health as well. It will help you to sleep through the night. Don't drink too much before going to bed, because obviously,
You'll be up going
everything that,
potty.
yeah, absolutely. So anything that you're having, try not to drink too much from dinner time onwards. Sort of keep it down to a minimum. And again, alcohol, try and avoid alcohol before going to bed. Alcohol, maybe initially a bit of, you know, it initially is a bit of a stimulant, and then it becomes a depressant. But we don't want to be having, a lot of alcohol in our bloodstream. Again, you're talking about getting up in the middle of the night and going to the toilet with that as well. So yeah, and we don't want to be
Question.
dehydrated. Yeah.
How do Scots take it when you tell them limit your alcohol? Because I know
Now that I
that's a
was,
big.
yeah, no, I was actually, I was talking to a lady the other day about this, and it's a huge stereotype that us Scots have. Um, to be honest, we're not as big drinkers as you think we are.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Yeah,
Maybe it's
and it's
just my
something.
family then.
And yeah, don't get me wrong. I do like a whiskey, but yeah, we're not just as big drinkers as people put us down to
That's
be.
so funny. I love that.
Yeah.
I love hearing that because, that's just our brand, right? That,
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
that's so funny. I love that. I'm so
yeah,
glad that you said that because now I can tell
yeah.
my husband, "Hey, like, it's cool, man. Like, they don't really drink as much as you think they do." So
And
we need to limit it, buddy.
yeah, yeah, limited time. So just another reason, another point to help you go to sleep at night. And again, this is a very, very simple point. And it's very obvious. This is a really obvious one. Go to bed on time. Use, that time in the evening to get everything prepared. Turn off your devices an hour before the time that you need to go to bed. Make sure you are ready for bed at the time that you need to be. So give yourself those 7 to 8 hours, work it back from when you need to get up in the morning.
Mhm.
You can set an alarm at night to remind yourself that that is the time that you need to be in your, or going to start getting ready to go into bed, and be in your bed at that time. So not brushing your teeth, not running about doing, oh gosh, I forgot to leave something out for tomorrow. Try and get more organized just before you go to bed, so that you are in your bed and you have that time to sleep. Yeah.
And that peace, yeah, so that
Yeah.
so your mind is clear, not like, "Oh, man, I gotta do this and this and this and this tomorrow." Maybe even make
Yeah,
a to-do list for the next day the night before so it's at least
absolutely.
out of your head and you're not thinking about all the things you might forget.
Sure, absolutely. And I am a big advocate of leaving a notebook beside your bed so that if you get up in the middle of the night and you think, oh my goodness, I've forgotten, or, you know, I need to contact somebody, or, oh, I must remember to do this, write it down in your notebook and put it away, because if you don't, what will happen is that thought will keep you awake, because that is a sort of a spot of an activity in your mind. Your mind's going to keep going over it. Oh, remember to do this. I must remember to do this. I must. And every time you try to fall asleep, you can bet your life that that thought will wake you up. And in the
Isn't
morning,
that
you will,
so
yeah,
wild?
you'll be like, oh my gosh, I didn't sleep last night, all because I need to phone somebody today, or all because I forgot to polish my shoes, or I didn't leave something out of the freezer to defrost. Just write it down, get it off of your mind, and give yourself permission to sleep.
I love that. I love it so much. What do you say to someone that is doesn't like to go to bed until they're like they've squeezed every last ounce out of the day because they know once they go to bed, they are, going to sleep for however many hours and then they're going to wake up and just go and do everything all over again and my husband specifically feels like when if he goes to bed earlier, then the day's over earlier, so therefore he just kind of rushes through life.
Ah, right, okay. Um, well, at the end of the day, we need 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and that is time which is necessary. You need to have the sleep. And if you don't, there are so many negative forces that will come out in your health. And eventually it will catch up with you. And, this is not a scary story. It will eventually catch up with you. It's just like if you constantly eat the wrong foods, it will eventually catch up with you. You might not see the effects of it right now, but eventually down the line you will. So you might not see, for example, that your immune system is struggling to cope. You might just think that, oh, I've just caught a cold, or I've got a bit of dry skin, or I've got a sore muscle, or an ache and a pain, or I'm developing headaches. You're not actually knowing what your body's going through. So it's not a scare tactic. This is real truth. So, I would
Yeah.
start by trying to educate the person on the importance of sleep, and really, truly, why their body, their mind, and their soul needs it. Because for the majority of people, when they realize that they've been missing out on sleep, and that they realize that they need to start learning to relax before bed, not keep going right up to that point, but
Mhm.
they start to enjoy it. They start to enjoy and embrace that whole time of the evening where they can say, it's such and such a time. I have to go to my bed in an hour. I'm going to take myself off. I'm going to have a shower. I'm going to go, have a bath, or, I'm going to sit and listen to some really relaxing music. I might read my book for half an hour, and when I mean book, I mean a proper paperback.
Right.
And I'm going, not an ebook, because again, the lights can influence our on off switch. I'm going to dim the lights, and I'm going to make that a part of my day, so a routine, a ritual, and a habit. And once they start to experience that whole process of relaxation and to calm down, they will want it more. They will start
Yes.
thinking, oh, I mean, I recommend, for example, in that hour before bed, to, listen to calming music, to dim the lights, to have a shower, to, stretch, do gentle yoga exercises, even listen to meditation if that's really, that helps you to wind down. You can spend that hour, writing down your, as you say, your list for the next day, and making sure that that's put away. But as long as you do that first, and then, you go through all your your relaxation procedures. And I think the more people experience that and have that feeling, and embrace that feeling, the more they'll want it.
Yes, I totally agree with that. I think that a lot of it too is that we feel so stretched, right? Stretched in
Hmm.
our time. We add so much to our calendar
Yeah,
that by the end of the day when dinner's over and we're just can kind of have a few minutes to just sit and, have some time to ourselves, if we don't make that space in our schedule to be able to do that, then those thoughts that like my husband has about, well, I don't want the day to hurry up and be over because then my day just, my whole life just flies by because I feel like he's not making enough time to chill out, relax, spend some time alone and things
yeah.
like that. Do you find that to be true at all for people?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's a place where I was at years ago myself, so I can completely identify with what you're saying. The thing is, if you allow yourself that time to wind down and you give yourself that self care, then your next day will be so much more productive. You will be able to keep on top of what you need to do. You will be able to tick the list of your to dos off, and you'll be able to perform better. You'll make less mistakes. You will, be in a better mood. You'll bring in more opportunities to your life. People will regard you with better respect, and they'll want to be in your company because easygoing. And also, as I was mentioning before, you will be stopping that process of your body going into stress, which means that you will be less likely to become injured or ill. And I swear that my illnesses over the years and my injuries have been a result of having this high stress response and not getting sleep. So I
Mm.
truly believe that that has been a trigger point for my own ill health. So that is completely a valid point to tell people that you will perform better and longer if you take this time now to give yourself that self-care. And sleep is a principle of self-care. There's no point not sleeping, but having a really healthy diet or going off to a health spa or,
Mhm.
making the time to go and get your nails done or, whatever it is that you do as part of your self-care routine. There's no point doing that unless you have your proper sleep in place. It's crazy. It's a simple thing that you can do for yourself. And it's not just for you, it's actually for those that are around you. So your loved ones as well. Because if you get sick and poorly, if you are grouchy, if you are making mistakes, if you're not making good decisions, if you are, in a family unit and you make a bad decision with finances or, with anything really that affects the whole family, then, that is a knock on effect to your life and to those people who you love that are around you. So, sleep, it might sound like, oh my gosh, just sleep, Gillian, it's not that big a deal, but it actually it is. And in my own life, I have found this, that the minute my sleep improved, everything else in my life starts to fall in place. And I'm not saying that my sleep is always 100% perfect because there are things in life that always affect it. Yes, I get stressed. Yes, I wake up in the middle of the night sometimes and think, oh my gosh, I'm in a panic or something like that. But I have to work through it. And now I have strategies that I use in order for me to be able to go back to sleep and recoup any sleep that I would have lost in that, had I not done that, so
Yeah.
I'm able to fall back to sleep each time.
I just it's so crazy. I'm so glad that I had you on the podcast today
Oh,
because
thank you.
I feel like we always look for the thing that is wrong that's causing us to gain weight or causing our bad skin, like, hormonal
Yep.
acne, or we're looking for the thing that is making us grouchy or making us um, erratic or, whatever. And it's so interesting to me to finally realize like it all starts with sleep, including like you said, you can have the best diet, but if you're not getting the sleep that you need, then your body's not
It's not going
regenerating
to be able, yeah,
itself.
it's not going to be able to
Yeah.
process the nutrients that you're providing the body. That's the thing. It's going to be putting up its own defensive block. It will start storing any energy as fat. It will, do all those negative processes, all those things that you're trying to prevent. So sleep is one of those fundamental things that we must have in our life to survive and to be healthy and to be fit and to be there for the ones we love.
Okay, I have one quick question,
Yeah,
another quick
sure.
question about sleep. So, what is your view on sleep medicate? Not necessarily medications, but like a natural melatonin.
I I know what you
What's
mean.
your
Yeah.
view on that?
Okay, so um, I'm speaking from somebody and a point of view of somebody who does have a biomedical background. So, and I have studied neuropharmacology, and that is and neurotoxicology. So that's been in my past. So this is something that I know a bit about, and but I'm also talking from a point of view from somebody who has also studied alternative therapies and the benefits of those sort of more, I would say, traditional therapies. And then the other side of me, so there's three sides. That makes me a wee bit uneven. But personally, I come from a position where I am unable to take a lot of medications which get prescribed by a doctor. So that means that I am either intolerant to them or I am allergic to them. So I am a nightmare when I go to this doctor's surgery and I
Oh
have a
my
complaint. I
gosh.
just don't bother going now because I can't take things like regular painkillers. I can't take antibiotics.
Oh
Um, you know,
man.
anything that everybody else sort of takes for granted, I really can't take them. So everything, I react so differently to absolutely everything. So in my book, it doesn't talk about medications, and it doesn't talk about sort of, modern medications. It doesn't talk about sort of those prescription side of things, because I'm coming from my experience. The book is based on my experience, so I'm coming from that angle of this is what I've done and this is what I've achieved without having a prescription. So therefore, in my book, I talk about things like, well, you mentioned about melatonin. So you can get supplements for melatonin, which improves your sleep, but you can also bring that extra melatonin in through your diet. So,
Okay.
yeah. So, if again we were talking about our diet and the foods that we eat, and being more conscious about what we do eat. So if you during the day want to fuel your body and get it sort of ready for sleep, and in its best position at night, and have the right balance of nutrients in your body, you have to sort of look at things like magnesium and tryptophan and melatonin. So melatonin you can get from things like oats and milk, tomatoes, strawberries, bananas are brilliant. Okay. Tryptophan, again, yogurt and beans, bananas, yeah, bananas, fish and meat. And magnesium, so you're talking about beans again, nuts and seeds, your dark leafy vegetables, like chard, spinach, strawberries again, and guess what? Bananas. So
Wow.
yeah, so that really helps to promote the sleep cycle. So definitely, eat bananas. That's my biggest thing. Bananas are fantastic. They're great for stress release as well. It's just, to reduce your
And I
stress.
love bananas, so that totally
Yeah,
works
yeah.
out for me.
Bananas are fantastic. I always have bananas. But before bed, you're wanting to think about eating things like, that are that's going to sustain you through your night's sleep. So if you get hungry, you get the nibbles just before bed. So you want to think about things that are you know rich in carbs. So carbs are great because they help release serotonin, and that again helps you. It helps you sort of lift your mood, and it helps promote sleep. So without going into that sort of scientific balance too much, but again,
Yeah.
you're talking about cereals, and you're talking about like maybe for a late dinner, you're maybe looking at potatoes and rice and pasta, obviously all in moderation. But you're also thinking about milk and bananas. So,
I love
you just, you want to think about things that you can do during the day, that are natural, sort of precursors for your sleep. You want to think about all different angles. I mean, I come from a holistic viewpoint, so I like to look at your whole life in, and out from outside in. So you want to start looking at your habits, things that you do during the day. You want to look at your stress levels, so you think about how you're going to be able to manage your stress. I'm looking at exercise. Do you take enough exercise? Are you allowing that time to stretch, to you know get that heart rate going at any point during the day? Are you taking enough time to go outside, get fresh air? So I'm looking at that side of things, but I'm also looking at, you can do other things like, there's herbal teas that you might find that are therapeutic and relaxing to drink. You might want to sort of look into things like aromatherapy. I know a lot of people swear by lavender. I love lavender. I've got, like, before I go to bed, I have like lavender hand cream. I put on a nice, beautiful one from France. I have roller points, aromatherapy roller ball
uh-huh.
points that I put on my skin before bed. I might
I love
have a
that
shower.
because
Yeah,
because it's all like, okay, I got to get ready for bed. I'm going to the
yeah,
spa. I'm going to put on my lavender lotion and, take a hot
absolutely.
shower. And it ends up when you can focus on it like that, it ends up becoming like this whole routine that you get excited to do because it's totally
It's
self-care, but
enjoyable.
it's that enjoyable self-care that you get to do and really just wind down and
Yeah. And
love
just
that
like you
part
have
of your day.
Absolutely. And if just like you have that habit of your morning routine where you get up and, whatever you do, you maybe do exercise, or you brush your teeth, have a shower, get dressed, have breakfast, whatever order you do all that in. You do the same at night, and you prepare yourself for sleep. You don't just sort of switch the telly off and jump into bed, turn the light off and expect to go to sleep. And we all seem to do that. And it's become a
Mhm.
bigger habit in our society. And, that's the signal that we're giving our children as well. So it's about time, I think, that we stopped and sort of how do we think about what we're doing, and also, going back to that whole thing of, popping a pill to make you go to sleep. There are other ways that we can help ourselves, even when we've got to that point of, we feel that there's no return, that we can't sleep, that our sleep has been out of sync for so long. Because believe you me, I have been there. It was years before I realized that I needed sleep. I used to survive on 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night if I was lucky, and wonder why I was constantly tired, and constantly ill. So, there's things that we can do in our daily life that are small things in comparison and better for us than taking, medications. I mean, sure, go to your GP, go to your health professional, speak to them about if you're really concerned about your sleep loss, and, see what they suggest. If you're obviously on any other medications, then anything that's sort of herbal or even, therapeutic or um, alternative, like aromatherapy, for example, sometimes they have contraindications. So you might again want to check out the points of that. But yeah, sure. I mean, why not introduce, like, giving your partner a foot massage or something like that before going to bed, because that is a great way to relax. If you've been on your feet all day running about after the kids or whatever, then hey, if somebody has a nice, aromatherapy oil and they just massage your feet for a little bit, do it in turns, then again, that's a lovely way to relax. And it's a really nice thing to put into your bedtime routine.
I love it so much. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you were here and we got to talk about sleep specifically. I just think that this is going to be so helpful for so many people. Jillian, let's jump into a rapid fire couple of questions.
Sure.
What book, article, person, or talk has changed your life?
Sure. That has to be a book, and that is The Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield. I absolutely love that book because it's a story, but it gives that whole outline that we meet people and our paths cross for a reason. And I read that when I was in my early 20s. And from that point on, I have looked at my encounters with people in a different light. So, I mean, just for example, last week I was walking in town and I saw a lady who was getting kind of dragged about with her dog. And, I sort of smiled at her because she was really struggling and she obviously loved her dog, but she was having such an effort with this dog. And I smiled at her and I made contact with her and she came over and she talked to me about her dog. And I've got a little dog and they're both rescue dogs, we found out, and we had so much in common. So we were able to exchange tips and advice. And I could see her face relax as I said, "Don't worry, I've been through the same thing with my own dog. And have you tried this? Have you tried that?" And she was like, "No, but that's great." And she
Ah,
let off some steam and she, told me a little bit about herself. And I could just see by the time we'd left that we both shared some lovely positive energy between us. And it was that sort of meeting that was meant to be. So I was just so grateful for that our paths had crossed that time. So I'm a big believer that we meet people and we speak to people for a reason.
I completely, totally, 1000% agree with that. I know that's not a thing, but I
Yeah.
totally agree with that. Tell me about your favorite Friday night at home.
Okay, so Friday night we have Friday fun night in our house, and it started off when the kids were little. I have this big tin, and we all put in little bits of paper filled with things that we wanted to do on a Friday night. So, whether it's a game, whether, it's a board game or a computer game or a film or a food that we want to eat or we want to go out somewhere. We put all those sort of ideas onto a piece of paper and we scrunch them all up, and then we draw one out of the tin, and
Oh,
that's
I
what we
love
do
it.
on a Friday. So that's what we do, Friday fun night. And so each time it can be, different.
I love it. So you guys put in a different piece, sorry, 10 different pieces of paper each Friday?
No, we just basically, if there's anything that we want to do, we'll write it down, add it to the tin, and then, on a Friday we'll draw out what we want to do for the following Friday.
Oh, cool.
Um, and then that Friday we do that, and then again we draw another one for the following Friday, and we keep up that habit so that we have something fun to do as a family.
I love
And
it.
we'll, of course, that will definitely involve things like the kids will get their treats and all that. And but it seems as the kids have got teenagers, it seems to have stuck. Although there's more films getting introduced into the tin, and the games are a little bit more they're not quite the sort of kiddie games anymore. They're a bit more. You've got
Yep.
to have you've got to keep your mind about you because, gosh, I'm getting competition's strong now.
Yeah, I love it. I love that you guys take that time to really be intentional and spend it together. I think that's so great. What was your dream job as a kid?
Okay, this is going to sound like really strange, but I wanted to have a vineyard in Italy.
That doesn't sound
I
strange
want
at all. I think that
Well, it
sounds
is
so
for a kid.
neat.
I don't worry. I didn't drink wine as a child. I'll just sort of clarify that. I just love the concept. I think I'd seen a picture of like of a picture of a vineyard, and there was a house on a hill that overlooked it, and I thought, yeah, I could live there. That looks so peaceful. And then I thought, oh, wow, I could make wine from my vineyard and sell it, and then that would make me have money so that I could like I love to draw and play music, and I thought I could just do that with my time and travel the world, and I wouldn't have to worry because my vineyard would be there and my house would be there, and it would just be creating the income for me, and I could just have this wonderful relaxed lifestyle in the sun doing what I love to do.
I think that is so great that you had the foresight to think, I want to make money, but I don't want to have to work really hard at it.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to do the things that I want to do. I think that's so great. And I love that that's kind of what you do now is teach people that you can do things that make you money that you love doing,
Yeah.
and you can enjoy your life. I think that's
Yeah.
so fantastic.
Absolutely.
So tell me about your next vacation that you're planning.
Okay, well, vacations are a little bit on hold at the moment. I was talking to you earlier before we decided to, come on and record for this podcast. Um, I was saying that my eldest son, who's 15, is going off to Malaysia in the summer for 18 days, and he's going on a conservation trip to sort of help out. He's going to go into the rainforest and he's going to learn lots about it. He's going to speak to locals. He's going to start help teach local children. He's going to be involved in a turtle conservation project. So he's going to go off during the summer and do that. So it means that we won't have the same time as a family to do anything too much, but
Yeah.
we will pop up to Scotland to see my family and spend some wonderful time with them. And then I'm hoping to hear all Charlie's stories when we're up there. And I just can't wait to hear what he's experienced and what he's learned from this wonderful trip. I'm so jealous.
So cool. That's so
Yeah.
awesome. Okay, real quick. In Scotland in the summer,
Yeah.
I put air quote summer because I feel is it winter there when it's summer here? I don't know. I don't can you
Is it
help
winter
me?
all the time in Scotland?
Okay, well that answers that. That is so interesting.
Well, we go to Scotland in the summer most years, and we um, we can experience sometimes about sort of 10 degrees, which is
That's it. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
we can get sort of we live in the south of England at the moment, and so we can be leaving temperatures of 25 average, sort of nice temperature, and I have to make sure that I remember to pack sort of waterproof trousers and walking boots and my thermals, my jumpers,
Oh my
sweaters,
gosh.
um, because I don't know what I'm going to get when I go up to Scotland. I mean, don't get me wrong, they do have nice days, and when they have nice days, it is absolutely glorious and beautiful. I'm biased, but I always think there's no beautiful place in the world as Scotland when it's sunny. They have wonderful beaches, beautiful lochs, amazing mountains. The scenery is spectacular. But when it's wet, it's wet.
So
And when it's
what
cold, it's cold.
Yeah. Okay, so what's like a nice day? Like what's the temperature there on a nice sunny summer day?
You can get high temperatures up in Scotland as well. They can still, experience those sort of high 20s, but I would reckon that sort of more of a normal temperature would just be around sort of 18 to 20 and a really nice sort of relaxed summer day. Which is, it's nice. You don't need to have your sweater. You just, you can wear shorts if you want. It's just
And
nice.
and okay, so our temperatures here are what y'all's is in Celsius and ours is in Fahrenheit, right?
Yeah,
Is
well, I
that way?
think about, yeah, that's the way I think.
Okay, I think so too. Okay, cool. Well, so I know that it's not our 20 degrees. It's I don't know what the conversion is or whatever, but okay. Well, it sounds like you guys really enjoy that. That's really neat. Um
Yeah, we like to go walking, so it's nice to go. And we've got a little caravan as well, so we sometimes, hook that up and take it to Scotland.
so cool. Oh man, one of these days I'm going to get there and I'm going to be able to see it and explore it and I'll know everything that you're talking about.
Oh yeah, you
um
must. You must go to Scotland. Everybody's got to go to Scotland. It's a beautiful country. And very
it's
friendly people as well.
It's at the very top of my list. That and Greece have been the 2 places that I've always
Mm.
wanted to visit, so it's
Yeah,
it's on the list.
I need to go to Italy to get my vineyard, don't I?
Yes, please, and then
Yeah,
I'll just hop on over there
absolutely.
and hang out. That would be so fantastic. Tell me what your best advice is to help our listeners live with audacity.
Well, I think really is to not let the challenges that come up in life to stop you. I just don't let them stop you. They might slow you down, or, they might make you seek a different path, but always look ahead and find an alternative way to get there.
Yes, I love that so much. When you set your mind to something, figure out how to get it. It might not come exactly like you thought it would come, but if you stay committed to it, you can get there. I love
Absolutely.
that advice. Love it so much.
Yeah. And also, sometimes the path that you're seeking might not be the best path for you. And that obstacle has allowed you to find a better way and a better path for you.
Yes, totally. I love that so much. We can shift at any time and it's okay.
Exactly.
It's no big
It's
deal.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love it. Thank you so much for being here. I loved talking to you, and we are definitely going to keep in touch because I'm going to
Absolutely.
meet you in Scotland one day.
Sure you are. Absolutely.
I
Thank you
love that.
so, so much. Yeah,
Yeah, for
I
sure.
really enjoyed this chat. And yeah, thanks so much for inviting me on your show. I really do appreciate it.
Real quick, tell everyone how they can find more information about you.
Sure. So you can find everything about me over at clarityjunction.com. So there's all the details of my podcast and of the book, and links through to my Facebook page. So sure, that's the best place to go, clarityjunction.com.
Perfect. And I will link everything in the show notes, everybody. So, again, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
I love chatting to you, Melissa. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, y'all, I had to jump in here real quick because I need a favor. If you are loving the Live with Audacity podcast, I need you to do me a big, solid favor and share it with your friends, share it on social media, and go to the Apple iTunes link and click subscribe, rate it, review it. I need to know your feedback, and I want to keep putting this out for you, so I really need your help to get the message out. Thank you so, so much for your loyalty and your super kind and sweet words. They mean so terribly much to me.